What's going on, YouTube? Tom here. It's that time of day again. It's gym time. So today, I go with my mother. My dear sweet mother. We go for a little drive. She rarely ever rides with me anymore in this truck. So today was actually the first time since I put my K&N air intake on this truck that she rode in it on the interstate. And, well, she decided to declare her disdain for it. She says, I really don't like that air intake since you put it on. So that brought me up to the point for today's little vlog here. Modding your car. Why it's actually a bad idea. So, as many of you may or may not know, pretty much the only mechanical mod I have on my truck, basically the only thing that's not cosmetic, is I have a K&N air intake on it. Now, the big difference between it and the standard Tacoma design is, on the standard Tacoma, there is a big resonator on top of the engine before it goes in through the throttle body. So the air coming in is quieted down a lot. Now on the K&N system, there is no resonator, so it's a lot louder, especially at full throttle. Now, in my last, actually a couple videos ago, my 5 things I said I hate about the Tacoma, I said, when I go to get on the interstate, it's pretty difficult. Well, my system to get on the interstate to avoid that was actually to put on this intake so I get a little extra power, and then still, because it's not a whole lot, is to basically stand on it. I basically have to floor it to get on the interstate. It's to hope I have enough of power so I can get enough speed going so I can get into a lot of the gaps, because people love to shoot the gaps around here. They do not like to leave gaps between cars. So, and I'm thinking about modifying the Tacoma. It's still up for grabs. It's still up for debate that I might modify it. I'm still looking at doing a header. Now, the big concern was I don't want to add a whole lot of noise with it, because I've been tossing around the idea of exhaust, but at the moment I'm still thinking no, just because you start to run into some drivability issues when you start changing exhaust. K&N intake alone, in addition to being noisy, the standard Tacoma design is flexible a little bit. When you start up the engine, because it's bolted to the engine and then bolted over to the fender, it flexes when the engine both runs and when it starts up, because it really flexes a lot. On the K&N intake, it's only bolted to the engine, and it's not bolted to the other end. Instead, it moves around within the heat shield that you put on in place of the airbox. Well, the problem is sometimes it bangs that heat shield on startup. So that's one of the issues I've had to live with a little bit. It's not a big issue and it doesn't do it all the time, but it just kind of is annoying that I know it's there, and I've tried to fix it and I just had a hard time getting it just right. So when you start modifying things, you change a lot. And obviously, if you add enough power to a car, you actually are going to significantly influence the reliability of the car. Ask any of these other big channels out there when they start blowing up things like transmissions, differentials, even as far as some of them have gone as far as blowing up the internals of the motor. You're significantly affected, because these eggheads who work for the car companies, they have their engineering degrees from various universities. When they do it, they're designing these components to have a safety factor. And typically, a lot of good designs, if the costs permit, you will design something to have a safety factor for infinite life, meaning effectively, based on the given conditions, it's going to last forever. Now, obviously, it might or might not, because the given conditions that it's designed for may not always be the conditions it experiences in real life. And then for 2, people mod things. So your components are going to start breaking over time if you start changing enough of them. You add enough power to the engine, you have to build the motor itself, you have to change all your internals for forged internals, just because you need to have powerful enough internals to withstand the pressures. You start adding enough power, you're going to have to put in another transmission or put in new transmission internals, because the gearing might start to break. New rear end, half shaft, drive shaft, name a component, it's all going to have to be upgraded at some point. I like to say, when talking about different levels of power, I like to say, there's basically, well, really, it's a lot more logarithmic, engineer brain in me, but it's exponential in a way. The amount of power you want to add is exponential to the amount of money it's going to cost you. Now, let's say you want to add, like me, you want to add tens of horsepower. Like, I'll be perfectly fine if I add another 20 horsepower or so to this truck. Intake adds, claiming 7. Looking at putting the header, which is another 10-ish, and I've got the math calibrator at home I still need to put in this truck. It's going to add another claimed 15. All of that alone, if I just bought each component, that's about $1,000 right there, and really adds enough power to what I want for this truck. The sun behind me now. Apologize in advance if the lighting is bad. That's what I get for doing vlogs in the evening like this. So anyway, that hundreds of dollars, really. Now, thousands, some people might say that's a terrible price, but that's really it. That's your only options for Tacoma. Oh, well, I guess the sun's going to come in the back window. You want to add hundreds of horsepower, like forced induction. It's going to cost you thousands of dollars, possibly even in the tens of thousands, depending on the kind of motor we're talking, if you have to build it. And let's say you want over 1,000, you're going to have to spend big money. Pretty much the cost of another car is going to go into your car to make it fast. But that's what people still do. Now, let me say this for anyone who's looking to modify a car. What kind of parts should you use? Because everyone loves to argue about what's better than everything else. They love to say, well, oh, buy this brand because this is better. This brand makes the best stuff. And first of all, a lot of companies, I know specifically Ford and Toyota, just because Ford, I've been researching it, and Toyota because I own one, they make parts specifically for their own cars to put on to make the car faster. They make like a Toyota brand cold air intake, a Toyota spec supercharger. Ford does a lot of the same thing, or if they don't make it themselves, they work with another company to make sure it runs the way it should with the vehicle as is. So that's always a plus, is go with something like that, because a lot of times you can get them installed at a dealership, and that of course will continue to be covered under your car's factory warranty. If not that, I like to pick brands that I know for a fact, usually the bigger companies, and straighten out my parking here a little bit, I like to say go for some of the bigger companies just because they probably have a better team of engineers. If it's some company you've probably never heard of, chances are there's a reason for that. It's because they're typically very small. The other thing I will say is, in engineering, things like lifetime warranties should not be taken lightly. Chances are, if a company is backing up their product with a lifetime warranty, there's usually a good reason for it. They typically predict it to last a lifetime. Things like, I always am a big gun guy. I have a Glock pistol. Glock says we'll cover all of our pistols with a lifetime warranty. And to me, that's saying a lot. That says if anything goes wrong, call us up and we'll send you whatever it needs to fix it. So, that's my advice on modifying cars. Personally, I'm going to tell you don't. But I know people still will, because everyone wants more power out of it. Like I said, I'm looking to get the Mustang too, and I'm going to modify that as well. I'm going to keep modifying this truck, even though I know the logic in me says don't do it. So, I hope this advice helped some people and just how to modify cars. And yeah, you're going to have people don't like it. My girlfriend hates the intake too, just as much as my mom does. People aren't going to understand why, and yet I'm still modifying it. Let me know in the comments below what you all think. Let me know what y'all think about me modifying my truck. Do you agree with me? Modifying is one of the stupidest things you can do, or do you think that everyone should be building their cars? If you like this video, go ahead and leave a thumbs up. If you're stopping in for the first time, please subscribe. Please share this video if you liked it. Help me grow past 100 subscribers. We're getting close. A little bit more. Take care. Have a good day.